Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the installment of Scott's Selections here for Monday, April 5th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap what happened yesterday. We didn't pick up a loss with the Magic team total under 100.5 at minus 125 on Fox Bet. Pretty annoying when you beat another 2-point line move and you end up losing anyway. We ended up doing that on Saturday with the 76ers. Beat a huge line move, lost. Ended up doing with Orlando with the team total. I ended up picking up a loser there. Orlando, who was awful offensively for pretty much the last couple of games, scored 65 points in the first half against Denver. Really was unexpected. Denver was great defensively leading up to that game. Orlando was awful offensively, also playing a back-to-back in altitude. And then Orlando only scored 44 in the second half, which is what we also needed in the first half. But since Orlando couldn't miss at all for the first 24 minutes, we ended up falling behind and ended up picking up a loss. But you beat so many line moves, eventually they'll start to bounce back in your favor. Before the play of the day, we're going to be talking about something that I'm sure a lot of you want to talk about. Thought about doing baseball, thought about doing the NBA, but at the end of the day, all of you want to talk about the college basketball game. So for that reason, we're going to be looking at a play on this one, and we'll be on a first-half team total. And the best play that I like is going to be on Baylor first-half team total, over 36.5 points at minus 113 on DraftKings, a time recording of 3:03 a.m. Eastern Time. A couple reasons why I like the Baylor first-half team total here. First of all, Baylor has been phenomenal offensively in the first half of 4 of its first 5 NCAA tournament games. Baylor has scored at least 37 points in 4 of those 5 games. Scored 42 against Wisconsin, 46 against Arkansas, 45 against Houston in the last game. Also ended up scoring 37 against Hartford in the first round. Hartford, though, does play a zone defense, very, very slow pace, so I don't think that really applies for this case. But Villanova was mostly an anomaly. And Baylor, last 2 opponents scored at least 42 points in the first half. Baylor's really just been dialed in, both from three-point shooting, which was an issue earlier in the tournament, and the fact that these guards are just able to blow by their opposition with ease. But looking at some other factors here, Gonzaga, of course, is one of the fastest teams in the country, ranked 7th in offensive tempo. Nobody has been able to slow them down at all. Whether it was a zone defense with USC, didn't matter. Whether it was a man defense with Creighton, didn't matter. This team just scores points at will, and I do think that Gonzaga will be able to force the pace to be extremely up-tempo once again, which should lead to a lot of possessions for Baylor in the spot, whether Gonzaga makes or misses shots. Now, it is worth mentioning that Gonzaga so far in the tournament has faced some pretty good offenses. Faced Creighton, faced Oklahoma, for example. USC is decent as well. However, the best offense that it has faced in terms of Ken Palm offense efficiency was UCLA. UCLA ranks 11th. They played in the last round, and UCLA scored 44 first-half points. Now, looking at that matchup, you can say, well, that was an anomaly. UCLA really shot well. And the argument there would be that Baylor ranked 2nd in offense efficiency according to Ken Palm, and because of its really, really, I'd say, impressive scoring in the first half, I think there's a very good chance Baylor could get into the 40s here in the first half and what could turn into a track meet. Baylor's really not been afraid to push the pace against some fast-paced teams, did so with Arkansas, and ended up scoring 46 points in the first half as a result. So Baylor, even though you might think they might want to slow the pace down against Gonzaga, I really don't see that happening because you have seen them against fast-paced teams and they still went up tempo. I think you'll see a ton of quick shots, a ton of transition opportunities for both teams. And based on how Gonzaga's defense really struggled against UCLA's offense, which is a top 15 offense in the country in the first half, I do think Baylor's offense should be able to score at least 37 points, probably pushing 40. But I do think this number is a bit too low. I know money has come in on the under. However, that's mostly because of the fact that both these teams have been very good second half under teams. But in the first half, I do expect a ton of really just quality looks based on the feeling out process. And I think that Baylor's guards with Teague and with Butler, as well as Mitchell, should be able to generate a ton of problems for Gonzaga's defense. You look at Gonzaga and how this team played against UCLA's backcourt, very underwhelming, which I do think is going to be the Achilles heel of this team early on in this matchup. You go through the actual box score, all 3 of UCLA's guards absolutely torched this team. You go through, they pretty much run a 4-out system with 4 guards, kind of similar to what Baylor will do if Vital ends up getting into foul trouble. But Jaquez had 19, Juzing had 29, Campbell had 17. They all shot above 50% from the floor. So if Gonzaga couldn't stop them, I think they're going to have a field day trying to guard those 3, plus not to mention Meyer and Flagler off the bench. I do think that Baylor should have a lot of success. For that reason, I do think that Baylor should score at least 37 points in the first half and that this line is a little bit too low. The play that I once again here on Monday, April 5th for the national championship game in college basketball is going to be on Baylor. First half team total over 36.5 at minus 113 on DraftKings. That's been this installment of Scott Selection. Go to all of you and respect the best today. Bye, everyone.